to session 2 of Alloy's Lunch and Learn sessions. And today we will be looking at the BYOD solutions from Yealink, and we'll be looking at how we can enable BYOD use for native Teams MVC on Android and MVC on Windows solutions. Okay, so initially we'll look at some of the Yealink BYOD packages that are available. We'll look at enabling that BYOD mode to existing MVC solutions. We'll also have a look at some of the Yealink camera devices, their audio devices, and then we'll look at how it all pieces together. Okay, so first of all, we'll have a look at some of the Yealink BYOD solutions. First of all, what is BYOD? What do we mean when we say a BYOD meeting? So we know BYOD, bring your own device, but what's it mean for a conference room? So when we talk about BYOD solutions in a conference room, we're talking about walking into a conference room that already has audio and video gear installed, but walking in with our computer or a dedicated computer for the room and running a video conference on a platform that we choose. So a lot of conference rooms have dedicated platforms and dedicated equipment to run on Teams or to run on Zoom or to run on Cisco WebEx, for example. But what we're finding now with a lot of organizations is they need to be able to cater for platforms outside of what that organization might use internally. So to be able to do that, what we can do is we can utilize the existing camera and audio device in that meeting room, bring our own computer into the meeting room, run up an application on our computer, and utilize the equipment in that conference room. So there's a few different kits that are available from Yealink. So Yealink actually offer a few different BYOD kits. So we've got the BYOD 84, UVC 84, which comprises of the UVC 84 camera, a couple of the BCM 34 tabletop mics, and also the M speaker. Then we've also got the UVC 40 BYOD kit. So the UVC 40 BYOD kit utilizes the UVC 40 camera and also the BYOD box from Yealink. And then we also have the UVC 30 CP900 BYOD kit, which utilizes the UVC 30 and also the CP900. Now, when we're talking about the BYOD box, for example here, we're talking about a device that allows us to plug a single USB-C cable into our computer and utilize the camera and audio devices in that room. Now, on these BYOD boxes from Yealink, what we have is a couple of USB ports for our USB peripherals. So that might be our UVC 84 USB camera. It might be our CP900 USB speakerphone. And then the BYOD box also has a HDMI port on this unit that can connect to our front of room display. So when we talk about BYOD solutions, we walk into a conference room, we have our notebook, we sit on the table, and we don't want to run the meeting from the screen on our notebook. We want to be able to use the existing large screen that's been installed in that conference room or meeting room. So by being able to plug in via HDMI from this BYOD box to our TV, it allows us to utilize that larger TV format and then also the audio and video equipment in that room. So what the BYOD box does is it allows us to connect via a USB-C connection to our laptop and then utilize both USB and HDMI from this BYOD box. Now, there is one restriction here, and that is that the laptop that you're using, the USB-C port that you might have on your laptop needs to support video as well, video pass-through. Now, if we don't have that support, then we need to connect that USB-C port still to the BYOD box, and that USB ports on the BYOD box will connect to our USB peripherals. But what we would then need to do is plug our HDMI cable directly into our laptop rather than via the HDMI port on our BYOD box. So that's just the cases where the laptop that we're using doesn't support video pass-through on their USB-C port. All right, now let's look at how we can add or enable a BYOD solution on native Teams devices. Okay, so with the Android devices from Yealink, so the A20 and A30 Android all-in-one collaboration bars, what we need to do is we need to add an additional piece of hardware called the VCH51. What this box allows us to do is connect the A20 or A30 collaboration bar to our computer so we can utilize the camera, speaker, and mics from that collaboration bar on our PC, and then utilize those devices in whatever video conferencing platform that we want to use. So on the VCH51, we have a HDMI port, we have a USB-C port, and we have an Ethernet port as well. So the Ethernet port is used to connect to the A20 or A30 collaboration bar, and then the HDMI and the USB-C port can be used to connect to our PC. Now, like I said in the previous slide, if the laptop that we're using, the USB-C port supports video pass-through, then we don't need to utilize that HDMI port on the VCH51. We can just use the USB-C port. But if our PC does not support video pass-through on the USB-C port, then we need to utilize that HDMI port as well. If we look at this slide here, we can see the connectivity for the A20, A30 and the peripherals that come with it. So the A20, A30 natively will support either Zoom or Teams. So that means we can only run Teams or Zoom, depending on the model that we buy, from this unit. So if we have customers that are using Cisco WebEx or Google Meet, we can't use this device in its native form. So what we can do is we can plug in the VCH51 BYOD solution to allow us to run a VC platform on our own notebook. So as you can see from the diagram, on the back of the A20, A30, we have a HDMI port. We have two HDMI ports that can be connected to our TVs. The A20, A30 then connects to our network via Ethernet or via Wi-Fi. And that all sits at the TV. Now, on our conference room table, we might have the TTP18 control panel for the native Teams or Zoom solution. And then we've also got that VCH51 BYOD box, which is connected via Ethernet to the A20, A30. So on the back of the A20 or A30 collaboration bar, there's an Ethernet called the VCH port. So that is an Ethernet port that we can run an Ethernet cable from the front of the room where the A20, A30 is to the table and plug it into the VCH51 box. Then what we can do is plug your PC that we bring into the conference room via USB into the VCH51, depending on the notebook. So if your notebook supports video pass-through, just a single USB-C cable. If it doesn't, then we need to connect that HDMI cable as well. Now, when we do that, on that CTP18 touch panel, we'll get an additional icon on that on the panel down in the bottom right-hand corner. We click on that icon and it gives us the ability to put the system into BYOD mode. Now on our PC, we can run whatever software we want to run, And now what happens when we've connected the VCH51 to our PC, it installs audio and video devices into Windows. So what we can then do is, through the video software that we're using on our notebook, we select the Yealink Room system as the camera. So it'll utilize the camera of the A20 or A30. And then we also select the Yealink Room system as the speaker and mic, which will then utilize the speaker and mic from the A20 and A30. So now we can run any VC application we want on our computer and utilize the hardware that we have installed in that meeting room. Okay, moving on to the solution for our MVC systems. So the MVC systems, which are our Windows-based Teams MTR solutions, this setup is slightly different to the Android. So we use a different connectivity box. So this box is called the MVC-BYOD-Extender. Now what this does is it's a single USB connection to your computer and a single Ethernet connection back to the camera that we're using on the MVC kit. Now at the moment, the cameras that are supported in this solution is the UVC-40 and the UVC-84. Now looking at the connectivity for this setup. So as we can see, again, we have that Ethernet connection from our camera, whether that might be the UVC-40 or the UVC-84, and that connects back to our MVC-BYOD extender. And then we have a USB connection from the BYOD extender into our PC. So what that's doing is that's allowing us USB connectivity to the camera to get that audio and video detection in Windows, so we can select those devices on our in our VC application of choice. Now the difference here is we don't connect our HDMI cable via that MVC-BYOD box. This time we are doing our video sharing via the MTouch2 panel. So on the MTouch2 panel, we have the ability of doing two types of connections. So we can have a USB-C connection with a HDMI adapter for computers that don't support USB-C. Or what we can do is we can utilize the WPP20 wireless presentation pod to share our screen to the main displays on the MVC systems. So two different connectivity types between the Android and the Windows solution. Two different boxes, so we need to make sure that we do select the right connectivity box when we are deploying the BYOD solutions for our customers. So again, with the MVC solutions, we need to use the MVC-BYOD extender. With the Android solutions, we're using the VCH51. Now the main differences, as I've said, is the VCH51 does the video and the audio pass-through for our connectivity to the TV or the monitor in the meeting room, whereas the MVC-BYOD extender is purely used for that USB connectivity to share our camera and our audio from the MVC room system, but our connection to our TVs for display output is done via the existing MTouch2 touch panel that we normally use for content sharing in a normal in a native Teams meeting. Hopefully that all makes sense, guys. If you do have any questions, remember, put them into the chat panel. Happy to go through them all towards the end of the presentation. Okay, I just want to go through the camera options that we have from Yealink. These camera options are the same with our MVC solutions. It's the same if we go a BYOD solution. These cameras can be used for different scenarios. So looking at the UVC-40 camera first, so it's a 20 megapixel camera with 8x digital zoom. It has a broad field of view, so 133-degree field of view. Supports auto framing framing and speaker tracking. It has up to 9 presets that are configurable as well. It has built-in microphones, so 8 microphones built into the system. It has an electronic lens cap. So once a meeting starts and your PC is utilizing the camera, the lens cap will open automatically and then close again once your PC has finished utilizing the camera on the device. It also has USB 2 ports and a line-in audio port and also the power interface. Now looking at the UVC-30, which is our focus room solution, it's a 4K webcam with 120-degree field of view. Also has 3x digital zoom. Also supports that auto framing functionality and also has the ability to configure presets as well. Okay, the UVC-84 is the 12x optical zoom 4K camera built for medium to large rooms. Again, this camera has the auto framing feature and also supports up to 9 presets. Now, one thing that I want to mention here, and I'll actually go into a bit more detail a bit later on, but these cameras aren't just a camera device. So with the Yealink kits, the mic and speaker components of the kit connect via this camera. So what this allows us to do is it allows us to use a single USB connection back to a PC, but add a video and audio solution to our computer. So we have our mics that connect to the back of the camera. We have our speaker that connects to the back of the camera. We then have a single USB cable back to our PC for that connectivity so that our PC can utilize the camera, mic, and speaker of this solution. So what I'm kind of getting at there is these cameras not only can be used in MVC solutions and a BYOD solution where we're using Yealink's BYOD kit, but it can be used in, if you need a USB camera for a meeting room and we also need an audio solution, these cameras can do all of that. Okay, so I just want to quickly touch on a new camera that will be released sometime this month. We're hoping to get samples this month with full availability sometime in October. So this is a dual lens camera. It has a 4K 12x optical zoom camera and a second 4K digital zoom camera. The larger optical zoom camera has a 90-degree field of view, and the smaller digital zoom camera has a 120-degree field of view. So, why do we have 2 cameras or 2 lenses on a single camera? One is for speaker tracking. So this camera will support auto framing and speaker tracking. But also what it's going to allow us to do is control those 2 cameras independently. It's going to allow us to run what we call picture-in-picture mode. So we can have the optical zoom camera pointing to our speaker or our presenter, and we can have the smaller camera looking at our audience. So this is due for release, like I said, samples should be available sometime in September with mass production starting in October. All right, so as I said before, when we're talking about these camera solutions, these BYOD solutions, because the audio devices connect back to our camera, we've still got that single USB cable back to our PC for connectivity. So the devices that are available are our M Speaker 2, which is obviously our speaker for our room system. And then we've got 3 different mic types. We've got the CPW90, which is our wireless mic, which uses DEC technology. We have our VCM34, which is our Ethernet-based tabletop mics. And then we also have our VCM38 ceiling mics. So the ceiling mics, we can support up to 8 mics in a single kit. The VCM34 up to 6, and the CPW90 up to 4. Now, at the moment, there's a new hardware version of the UVC-84 out, which now has a USB port that can support the the CPW90 wireless mics. Now, until today, where I got my message from Yealink, it only supported 2 wireless mics, but firmware has now been released today to support up to 4 wireless mics, which is great. Now, as well as supporting a single camera and our audio solution, what we can also do is we can actually support a multi-camera solution like the MVC-940 solution from Yealink. What we can do is we can support a multi-camera solution in a BYOD setup. So in regards to the MVC-940, there's an additional component compared to a lot of the other, or compared to the other MVC kits, and that's the camera hub. And the camera hub allows us to connect multiple cameras and allows us to connect either Yealink audio equipment or third-party audio equipment. So similar to what we do with the MVC-90 Teams MTR kit, we can do that in a BYOD solution as well. And when we're talking about using this kit in a BYOD solution, we still need to be able to configure presets on the camera. We need to be able to manage these USB peripherals. So we can do that by the Yealink RoomConnect software. This gives us the ability to upgrade firmware, to pull logs if we need to. In terms of the cameras, it allows us to configure the presets. It allows us to change the camera settings. It allows us to, if we're ceiling mounting the camera, it allows us to flip the video signal. So all of this can be done via the Yealink RoomConnect software, which we'll install on our PC. Now, having that installed on your PC also allows us to connect back to Yealink's YMCS platform for device management. So whether it's an MTR kit, whether it's a BYOD solution, we can still manage these peripherals via Yealink's YMCS solution. So having the RoomConnect software installed, which connects back to the YMCS and feeds back the information from those USB connected peripherals into the YMCS that we can use for management and monitoring purposes. Okay, so just to finish off, I want to quickly run through a couple of connectivity diagrams in relation to specifically the UVC-84, because the UVC-40, it's an all-in-one solution. It's a USB connection or an Ethernet connection via the VCH51 device for BYOD solutions. But when we're talking about the UVC-84, there's a couple of different connectivity options, and the flexibility with how Yealink are now allowing the connectivity through the UVC-84 really makes installation a lot easier. So looking at this diagram, so originally when the Yealink cameras were first released, it was a 3.5mm audio connection to our speaker, and it was an Ethernet connection to our mics. Now with the latest version of the M speaker, we can now Ethernet connect all of these peripherals. So we've got Ethernet PoE powered mics, the VCM34, all daisy chainable. One Ethernet cable to the table and an Ethernet in out to additional mics. The M speakers are now all Ethernet connected, all PoE powered. No need to run additional power supplies to the speakers, and also the camera itself is PoE powered. There's no need to run a power supply for the camera anymore. We use a PoE switch. This makes installation so much easier. All we need to do is run Ethernet cables to where we want these cameras, mics, speakers located. No need to run power. Now, in terms of the amount of devices we can have connected, so I ran through the mics before, so 6 tabletop mics, 4 wireless, 8 ceiling mics. But what we can also do for those larger rooms is we can actually connect up to 4 M speakers to this solution, all via an Ethernet PoE switch, all PoE powered, all run in sync. Now with this diagram here, you can see it's a BYOD solution. So we've got the UVC-84, we've got an Ethernet connection from the UVC-84 into our PoE switch, We've got our mics connected via the PoE switch, and we've got our speakers connected via the PoE switch. We've then got a single USB cable from our camera to our PC, and then our PC has that HDMI connection to the front of room display as well. And then we can use whatever VC platform we want based on this connectivity. Now, the next diagram is in regards to the multi-camera solution. So in this diagram, we can see same type of thing where your cameras are connected via the PoE switch, but instead of a USB connection back to our PC, this time we have an Ethernet connection back to our PC, and the PC connectivity itself will be a USB to Ethernet adapter. Now you can see that the cameras are all connecting via the camera hub, and also the audio equipment is connecting via a separate PoE switch into the camera hub as well. So everything being Ethernet connected makes installation really, really straightforward. Okay, the last thing I wanted to cover today is another device that Yealink have recently released, which is a Yealink Roomcast. This is really a platform independent solution where we might have a large display in our meeting room and we're running internal meetings with our employees. We walk into the meeting room with our laptop, we're looking around for our HDMI cable and stuff to connect to the TV at the front of the room. No need to do that anymore. So using the Yealink Roomcast, the Roomcast connects to our TV via HDMI, and then we can cast from our computer to this device completely over a wireless connectivity. Now, the device, the Roomcast itself, supports quite a few different casting technologies. So it supports Miracast, AirPlay, Google Cast. It also has support for connectivity via Yealink's wireless presentation pod, the WPP20. So in theory, what we can actually do is we could utilize, so let's go back to kind of a BYOD solution here. So we've got our USB connectivity to our PC, so we've got connection to our camera and audio devices in our conference room. But we don't have that HDMI cable running from our PC to the conference room cable. There's just no way of us being able to run a HDMI cable from front of room to the meeting, to the conference room, I should say, sorry. So what we could do is we could get away with that HDMI cable and utilize a device such as Yealink's Roomcast to allow us wireless connectivity to our TV. Now, the Roomcast itself, PoE powered, so we can connect it to our network via PoE. It doesn't have to connect via Wi-Fi if we don't want it to, but then it does have Wi-Fi support if that's the connectivity of choice. And it also has a power supply too if you are using Wi-Fi connectivity. And this unit will support 4K at 60 frames per second as well. Most other casting devices out there on the market are only 4K 30. So yeah, there's been a bit of an improvement there with the 60 frame support. Okay, guys, hopefully I didn't run through that too quickly. Tried to stick to that half an hour time slot. Now, if there's any questions at all, let's have a look at I saw that Roberta was answering a lot of the questions. Let's have a look and see what we've got. Okay, so Cecile had a question about the BYOD box itself. So that is actually what the part number is, Cecile. It's actually just BYOD box. So if you look at the SKU in the alloy price list, you should be able to find that. So that's the little USB hub type device that also has a HDMI connection as well. Just answering a lot of this stuff. Thank you, Roberta. Okay, so Stephen Allen, will UVC 80 camera work with the MVC solution? Yes, it does. So if you've got So the UVC 80 camera was the predecessor to the 84. So the UVC 80 camera will still support. Okay, so I think, sorry, Stephen, I've got that. I think that you're asking there, will the UVC 80 support the BYOD box? It won't, unfortunately. It does have to be the UVC 84 camera. Oh, sorry, Roberta, you already answered that. Sorry, guys, just looking. All right, then they're asking if there's a BYOD solution for the 500. Unfortunately, not. The 500 now has been discontinued, and the main reasoning behind not having a BYOD solution for that was a limitation of the hardware on the UVC 50 camera. It just doesn't have the ability to support that functionality, unfortunately. All right, guys, is there any more questions? All right, if there's no more questions, guys, we'll finish there. Like I said, the recording for this will be up on our website probably tomorrow. For those that, so for those that do want to see the recording, it will be there. And for those that missed out, we'll send out an email with a link to the recording as well. All right, guys, thank you very much for your time today. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you all.